Hi there. So just checking in on a Sunday. It's a very overcast day today, and I went for a bit of a walk so I could get some supplies for cooking and stuff like that. And yeah, there were a few droplets. I sat in the park with the pigeons. I thought about Sinead O'Connor. It was the anniversary of her death recently, actually. But I thought of that song, Nothing Compares to You, which obviously has a very great backdrop as well. What a classic, though. Um, I'm gearing up for my second week, and I have students for cross-cultural literature and film tomorrow morning. We're going to be discussing Babel, so I've been rewatching that slowly. My way of reading it has not substantially changed. If I compare that to watching Amores Perros, probably for the 26th time, that is every year since its release, I felt much closer to that film last week and really understood the trauma. Yeah. Um, More on Babel at another point. But anyway, over the weekend, I have been watching psych lectures. I've also been chilling, cooking, things like that. What else? I sent away some work. So there's three prose poems that are titled Three Exercises in Leaving, and with the subtitle from a poem by Trish Suller that is, In What Body Are You Leaving? Uh, Two of the poems I wrote, oh God, like so long ago. One's called Excerpt, one's called Sweet, and the third one is called Whirligig, which came straight out of a dream, and I kind of re-encountered it. Because at some point I'd posted it somewhere, and then I realised that's actually a good poem. So yeah, I thought I'd put them together as a triptych because they sort of look at, attachment, detachment from relationships, the sense of not being able to leave, but then having to leave. But they're also quite cut up as prose poems with some jarring imagery and things like that. And so I kind of thought, well, I don't really commonly write like that, but we'll see how it goes. Fence magazine, Fence journal, I should say. I sent that triptych, three exercises in leaving, to Fence, and I also entered two pieces into the Iowa Review. One is strongly based around voice, and it's called The Generalist and His Cat. It's a bit of a grotesque comedy. A friend says I couldn't find you in it. That's because it has nothing to do with me. Not even any autobiographical scraps in there, that's for sure. I was obsessed with the writing of Angela Carter at the time that I wrote it, about 26 years ago. Then I also sent The Five Instars, which is a poem in 5 parts reflecting the life cycle of silkworms under great observation from a child's point of view. Yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff out there, and I don't even know where to begin to make time to keep writing. I also edited or made notes on the proof of a chapter of mine, and I've started to put my feelers out for what I have to build for another chapter. I got to use my weekends wisely in the next little while, because there's going to be a lot of things coming my way. My psychologist had actually said, you should be spending more time doing your writing, making those creative spaces in your life. But I know how slow it is even to get anything up in terms of publications. It's like that in the academic world, and it's even more so in the literary world. So, to kind of try to, in the longer haul, dedicate all my spare time to writing just feels like it's not going to pay off. I don't know. Anyone out there? Someone who's a writer who seeks kind of literary journal, top tier, second tier publication? I really do hope that some of my fiction makes the final cut, because that, for me, that really spurs me on. Um, I've got a lot of poems out there, and you know, quite a few published poems, but there's more to come. I'm not saying that poetry is easier to write than fiction or vice versa. They have their own challenges, definitely. Anyway, they're my thoughts. I better get back to Babel, which is a network film. I'm always interested in looking at different films from a narrative point of view as well. There is one I saw recently called Twinless. I'll put a link below. It's really interesting. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I think that what it does narratively is really interesting. And it's a bit like a short story, the kind of short story that I think I'd like to write, but I'm not saying I'm going to write anything like Twinless, okay? It's not even really my genre. But I like the tricks in people's screenwriting, screenplays, and I also like just those little unexpected things in people's psychology as they unfold in short stories. The short story space is really interesting, very different from the novel. Yeah. Anyway, hope you're all doing all well, and speak again soon. Wish me luck for the week ahead, and have a good one yourselves.